Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to do the revision, chapter 1, crop production and management. Since we are getting only one period in a week, that time will not be enough for conducting the revision. And along with this, I have included the pattern of questions that is to be asked for the midterm one. So you can go through. First we will give a brief idea about which all topics are coming under and what are the different patterns of questions to be asked. We will deal that also. So we'll go to the session. What do you mean by crop? So when plants of the same kind are grown and cultivated on one place on a large scale, then it is called as crop. There are different types of crops and it can be grown in different regions of our country. And wheat crop in Kerala and our main crop is paddy. In that way, it is different types can be grown. And based on the season, because in each and every part of our country, the seasons will be very northern states, the season will be different. And in Kerala, the season is of different type. So based on the type, the crops also will be varying. So there are broadly crops are divided into two types, that is Rabi crop and Kharif crop. The main types of Rabi crops are on the right side I have written, that is wheat, gram, peas, mustard and linseed. Any 2 or 3 examples compulsorily you have to learn. And the speciality is they are grown in winter season. Because in northern countries, northern places, the seasonal variations are very distinct. And the rainy season is very, very less. And availability of water also is very less. So mainly the seeds are sown in winter season, that is from October to March. October the sowing will start and harvesting will be in the month of March. Then the Kharif crop. Kharif crop means in our place and all. That is the main crops are paddy, maize, soybean, groundnut, cotton. And it is mainly sown in the rainy season, that is from June to September. By September the harvesting, sowing season will be from June to September. Now the main agricultural practices, because we are going to cultivate the crop in large area. So the systematic procedure is required to get maximum yield. So this procedures to be, when the question is asked, means you have to write it in the correct logical sequence. Otherwise you will lose the mark. So the main agricultural practices means first we have to prepare the soil, because large area, the previous crop harvesting season will be over and there will be the waste etc. will be there, plant waste etc. will be there, and it has to be prepared, it has to be loosened. Then only the new sets of seeds can be planted. So it has to be loosened and then it has to be prepared for the type of seeds. What type of seeds we are growing, accordingly it has to be prepared. So that step is called as preparation of soil. Then once the preparation is over, next we have to sow the seeds. We have to spread the seeds evenly into the land. And after that we have to give them, because soon after sowing we have to irrigate. One more step is there, irrigation. We have to irrigate it. And then adding of manure and fertilizers. We have to add manures and fertilizers. And here only, that is after adding or before adding also irrigation step. Here there is a small error. Here it is irrigation. Then once the land is ready, seeds also sown, enough amount of manures and fertilizers are added, and we are continuously working on the irrigating, that means watering the plant. Automatically, along with the good seeds, sometimes the unwanted seeds also may land onto the ground, and that also will get a chance to grow. So actually for a farmer, when they are planting it for the maximum yield, if along with that the weeds also, unwanted plants also growing, means it will be a loss. because the weeds always compete with the main plant for water and sunlight and manure and all. So it has to be removed. So that removal of that unwanted plants from the main cropland, that is called as weeding. Then after that, the last, somewhat second last step is harvesting. So the plants are getting enough amount of water, sunlight, and all other necessary nutrients. They will definitely grow and they will enter into the flowering season. After flowering, they will produce the seeds or fruits, whatever it is. Then it will grow enough to separate from the main plant body. So that separation of the grains from the main plant body, that is called as harvesting. And it is not stopping with that, because the harvested products we have to store it, because mainly grains and all means even years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years and all we can store it if you are dehydrating it and drying it properly. So all these steps will come together, and that is, again I'm starting preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizers, and here you have to say that is irrigation, then weeding, harvesting, and then storage. Now we'll move on to the next one, the first step, that is preparation of soil. What do you mean by preparation of soil? It is just loosening of the soil. How can we prepare? That is two methods, manual method as well as the or conventional method and the modern method. Conventional method, the most common usage is plow. So what do you mean by plow? It can be made with either wood or with iron, and it can be tied to the cattles or bulls. And as the bull move, the plow also will move, and it can turn the soil upside down. So what is the importance of turning the soil upside down? Because it will loosen the soil, and not only that one, the nutrient rich soil will come up and it will enrich the soil. Then it will allow the microbes to grow in between, and then aeration will be there, so the microbes will add on the humus content, or it will add more nutrients by increasing the level of humus within the soil. The same way, the same procedure that can be done, it will take more time and labor, because someone should be there to drive the cattle. So it will take more time. If you have a large area of to be loosened, means instead of relying on manual method, we have to go for modern method. Along with that, there is another implement also that is called as hoe. It also will do, it is at the same time it is plowing as well as uprooting the unwanted plants with this. This also can be, it is an iron rod. With that there is a sharp and bent blade will be there that can be connected to the bullocks, this one, and as it moves, this also will be moving and helps in doing. So either hoe or plow can be used for loosening the soil. Then mechanical machine is called as cultivator on the right side, the figure on the right side, that is cultivator. So what is the purpose of cultivator? It is with the help of tractors. The cultivator can be connected to the tractors, and the plowing can be done, and it is more, the advantage of it is less labor and more time can be saved. But we have to, for driving this tractor, we need any fuel, either petrol or in diesel or kerosene, such that. So it is energy wise, it require more energy, but even then we can adopt this because less labor and more time can be saved. Now we'll move on to the next one, sowing. Sowing means after preparation, the land is ready to receive the seeds. So sowing is very important, and good quality of the seeds also is very important, because if the land everything is prepared, and if you are sowing the bad quality, then it will be a loss to the farmer. Hence separation of, or the selection of good varieties and maximum yield producing plant seeds, you have to collect it. Then there are also two methods are there, that is either with the help of funnel or with the help of seed drill we can do it. Funnel means the very old conventional method is just spraying the seeds with the hand. Okay, so that is very old only because it will not spread evenly, and most of the seeds will be sprayed on the superficial layer. So it will be eaten by birds and other animals. So in order to avoid that only, conventional method is a little more innovative one, that is called as funnel. Funnel means you can see in the figure there is a triangular broad-based area with a narrow tube-like area. The tip of that tube will be highly pointed, and it can be connected to the bullock cart drive. And then as the bullock is driving this one, this funnel, the pointed end of the funnel will be piercing the soil, and the seeds which are poured into that one by one, it will be deposited evenly in the soil. So the seed drill as well as the funnel also helps in sowing the seeds in correct distance, even spacing, and then it will cover the seed with the soil itself, so the birds and other animals cannot eat. So the spacing is very important, otherwise overcrowded seedlings will come out and they will compete for sunlight, water, etc. So it will affect the total growth of the plants. So if it is evenly distributed means all the plants, all the seedlings will get correct amount of sunlight, correct amount of water, and very good development also will take place, and it will be a profit for the farmer. So the modern one is called as seed drill. This can be connected to the tractor, as we saw how the cultivator is connected. The same way, when the sowing season, they will remove the cultivator, and instead of that they will attach seed drill, and then the tractor can be driven on the land, and the seeds can be deposited in the correct places. So this is a modern method, and this is a little bit conventional. Very old system is spraying with the hand, broadcasting we'll say. Very old system is broadcasting, that is not mentioned in the textbook. Anyway, now we'll move on to the why the spacing is required. Already I mentioned only prevent overcrowding to get maximum sufficient sunlight and nutrients and water, and it also prevent overcrowding. Simultaneously it will prevent the attack of other birds and other animals. Then the third step is manuring. Manuring means when the plants, as the plants they grow, all the plants they require water and nutrients. Water we can give through the irrigation, and nutrients means there are two types of nutrients. That is, one category we'll call it as manure, which is more eco-friendly, bio-friendly. The next one it is fertilizers. Fertilizers are chemicals, that is we can buy it from outside, they are produced within the industries, and from there we will get it. So when we differentiate these two, manures are organic. What do you mean by organic? It is formed from the waste materials accumulated from the plants, and decomposition. After decomposition it will transform into humus, which will contain more amount of nutrients. So when we are adding manure to this, it will improve the soil texture, because the soil quality will improve, and at the same time it will add up more nutrients to the soil, and there won't be any pollution. No pollution will be there because it is more eco-friendly. It is formed from the living organism itself, the waste of living organism, either plant or animal. Cow dung, we can say it is a animal waste, and plant waste means after the harvest and all, we can keep that plant waste there itself, and that can allow to act on with the decomposers, and they will be converted into humus. And another one, now in our house and all, we can prepare the manure by making the compost bin. That is all the kitchen waste and all, we can keep it in that, and we can add which one, the cow dung, the slurry. Slurry means the water mixed with the cow dung, and that if you are adding, then after some time it will convert, it will be acted upon by the decomposers, that is bacteria and fungi, and they will convert it into the nutrients. So here the difference is, I am going to read, one is inorganic and here it is organic, and they are prepared in factories, here it is prepared in the field. Then fertilizer does not provide any humus to the soil. No humus will be added because it is specific, and here it is, it provides more nutrients to the soil. Then it is very rich in plant nutrients like that, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, etc. And it is specific also, you can write it as when the soil is deficient of nitrogen, you can add urea. When the soil is deficient of potassium, you can add potash. Then NPK we'll say, or normally we'll say 12, 17, 18, 19 or 20, 20, 20 and all we'll say. That means equal amount of nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium together we'll say NPK fertilizer. Anyway, here manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients but improve the quality. And it is eco-friendly. Manure is eco-friendly. Here it is more of chemicals, so it will alter the chemistry of the soil. So it can continuous use can make the can alter the soil chemistry. Now we'll move on to the crop rotation. Apart from that, little more biological approach towards the manuring is that you can cultivate two different types of plants alternately, or two or more different types of plants, because legumes, that is leguminous plants, pea, Bengal gram, green gram, etc., if you are cultivating, they have in their root nodules there is a special type of bacteria that is called as rhizobium. This rhizobium bacteria can fix atmospheric nitrogen within the root nodules. So the plants will absorb. After that, if the plants can absorb atmospheric nitrogen, not directly through the nitrogen fixation. Then this after growing these plants, if you are cultivating paddy means, then we need not add much amount of urea into the land, because already as a result of nitrogen fixation with the help of rhizobium and the leguminous plants, the soil will be enriched with maximum amount of nitrogen. So next season, if you are growing crop, that is paddy crop or any other crop, main crops, then the farmer need not add much amount of fertilizers, which is a bit costly. So that rotating two or three different types in alternate manner, that process is called as crop rotation. Example, whenever you are asking leguminous plants, growing leguminous plants along with the main crop, that is called as crop rotation. Then next step is sources of irrigation, that is irrigation. As we all know, after sowing and adding manure and all, plants they require water, because without water they cannot grow properly and they cannot produce the maximum yield. So watering is essential, and in that we are going for different methods of conventional as well as the modern methods. Here in this picture I have given all the different types of conventional watering irrigation mechanisms. So based on the figure, sometimes match the following and all they can ask. So normally the sources of water are river, dam, canal, pond, etc., etc. So from that the water has to be taken into the mainland. So how can we take the water from the sources of water? So there are different types. It is Rahat, chain pump, then Dekli, Moet. And all these figures they'll ask or match the following. One side it is names, the other side the figures. Anyway, you have to match like that and all. Can be, the possibilities are there for such type of questions. Figure based questions can be asked. So you have to learn which one is Rahat, which one is Moet, and which one is chain pump and Dekli. The functioning and all I have explained, and it is very well it is explained here in the diagram also, so you can observe it. Now this is the modern method. Modern method, it is by using the pump. So you can see here within the figure itself, the motor is fixed, so it is machines only. So with the help of machine we can use. The other side it was with the animals or with other mechanical implements only, but here it is with the help of machine. So what we need surely the surely we need electricity. So electricity driven methods only it is there. Electricity or any other fuel, that is petrol driven or whatever it is. And here it is sprinkler system. You see there is a long pipe. The pump will be connected to one tube will be attached to the well or to the water source, and from there the motor will be there, and from this motor can drive the water to a long tube, and each tube will be connected to a horizontal tube. The tip of that tube there will be a nozzle, and through that nozzle, when the motor is running, the water will drain through this way, and finally it will reach there, and there will be a sprinkler with minute holes. Through that sprays, the water drops will be sprayed, and evenly it will be distributed. More or less the same alternative method, only the other one, drip system. So in both these systems we are using it where when the deficiency of water in that particular area is very acute. So acute deficiency cases, we cannot lose water much, we cannot waste water. So that is why we are adopting little more advanced one, that is called as drip system. That means a long tube will be there, and through this continuously the water will be drawn, and each tube it will be sidelined with small tubes with very narrow tube, and at the tip of that there will be a regulator, and that through that regulators we can regulate the water, drawing of water or passing of water drop by drop. It will be directly connected to the roots of the plants. So always the roots will get drops of water, that will ensure the continuous supply of water without much wastage. So whatever it is, this system of the modern system is very efficient, and we can minimize the wastage of water. At the same time, we can ensure that plants are getting enough and more amount of water throughout the season. Now we'll move on to weeding step. So what do you mean by weed? Unwanted plants. So always I said, when the seeds are sown, the previous growing season, by wind or by any plants or any animals, sometimes it will scatter. Unwanted weeds can get mingled with the main, can get deposited in the main plant, in the crop area. So these weeds also will grow, and the speciality is that they will grow faster than the main crop, and they will compete with the main crop, and they will absorb maximum nutrients, and they will grow very fast. So it will be a loss to the farmer. So it is very important, soon after the weeds are grown, it has to be removed. Otherwise they will use all this one, and they will expand, they will compete for other plants for the sunlight and all. So it has to be then and there, it has to be removed. So how can we remove? Because there are many different methods. That is either by tilling, that is when we are plowing the land, that time itself uprooting of weeds takes place. So a very good amount of weeds will be uprooted along with the tilling. And after that, even after that, if any weeds are growing along with the main plant, means there is a manual implement that is called as kurpi. That is physically we can remove. And individually also the person, we can uproot this one with the hands also, but it will not be practical at that time, because very large area means one by one if you are removing, it will be very difficult. So little more advanced, only with the help of kurpi we can remove this one, but that will take time. Then seed drill. When you are depositing the seed, because it will pierce the soil, the pointed end of the seed drill can pierce this one. Along with that also it can be removed. But more than that, there is one more is there, that is called as weedicides. That is chemicals only. 2,4-D is the typical example. The weedicides can spray with or can add with the water, and with the help of a sprayer it can be removed. So typical example for weedicides is 2,4-D. But there is a disadvantage is there, because it is a chemical, the weedicides. Weedicides means which can destroy the unwanted plants with the help of chemicals. So these chemicals, it can cause harmful effect to the person who is spraying. So what are the precautions he can take whenever he is spraying? It has to be the person who is spraying, that his nose as well as the mouth should be closed with or should be covered with a mask. So only after that only they have to, so that only they are sprayed during the vegetative growth of weeds before flowering and seed formation, because whenever they start developing more leaves and are producing, that time it has to be removed. Otherwise after flowering and seed formation, that weed seeds will be landed on this one. Next growing season, these weeds will outgrow the normal plant. So always removal of the weeds should be done before the or at the time of vegetative growth. What do you mean by vegetative growth? The growing period where it produces maximum of seeds and maximum of leaves and new branches. That time it has to be removed, and it should be done before the flowering. Otherwise once it started flowering, means it will form the seeds, and the seed setting time all the seeds will land on the same place itself. Next season overgrowth of weeds can be observed. Then we'll move on to the next one. So we have prepared, we have given enough amount of nutrients, enough amount of water, etc. The plants will grow. The next one is harvesting. So they will flower, they will produce the seeds, and then the harvesting. Harvesting means the separation of the cutting of crop from the main plant when it is maturing. That is called as harvesting. And normally we can harvest it with the help of a sickle. So it is manually with the help of a sickle, and it is also time consuming and labor intensive process. So we can go for a machine. That machine is called as harvester. So with a tractor or with the help of harvester machine itself is there, threshing and harvesting machine, that is called as combine. Okay, either with the help of harvester machine or manually also we can do it. Then the next step is threshing. Threshing means separation of the seeds from the chaff. Okay, so paddy when we are cutting it, the main plant body is removed, and from there we have to separate the seeds. So that is carried out with the help of machine, is called as combine. So combine can do both. That is why the term itself combine. That is threshing as well as harvesting. Harvesting is the separation of the plant, the crop, by cutting it. Okay, and threshing is separation of the seeds. Separation of the seeds from the chaff is called as combine. Now we'll move on to the next one, winnowing. Winnowing means sometimes along with the seeds, when we are cultivating, when we are separating it, the remaining part of the seeds and all will be there. The light particles and all will be there, the chaff, the covering, etc. So it can be removed with the help of winnowing. Winnowing machine is there, but manually also in olden days and all, morum, we'll say, in that morum we can keep the grains, and then it can be waved to the direction of the wind, and when in the presence of wind, the lighter particle will be separated and the heavier grains can be separated from this. And that is labor intensive only. That is why nowadays we are depending on a machine which can be rotated. In that rotation, and with the help of wind itself or that speed of rotation, the lighter particle will move away from that, and the grain alone can be deposited in this one. That winnowing machine only. Here in the figure it is given. Now we'll move on to last one, that is storage, because all these steps we have done carefully, and if storage step, if you are making any flaws, then definitely it will be a loss to this one, because seeds has to be dehydrated. What do you mean by dehydrated? All the water content should be removed. How can we dehydrate the seeds? We have to keep it or spread it on the open sunlight. So it should be dried. Why it should be dried? Because wherever there is moisture or water content, it will invite all the microorganisms such as bacteria and fungi. So the fungi can spoil, even bacteria also can spoil, even other rodents means rat, etc. Can eat, even birds also can eat. So as soon as the separation is over, the harvesting is over, the seeds have to be taken into the area, into the place, in a very good place, neat and place, and there it has to be dried. So that process is called as dehydration, and it has to be properly bagged. The grains are properly dried in the sun to reduce the moisture. At the same time, it has to be stored in separation mechanisms. In normal way, in our place and all, we are using it jute bags. Jute bags means chaku. In that we will keep it, or even in metallic bins also we can keep it. That is only for small scale purpose only. If you have to store the storage products or the grains and all in FCI or food corporation, that is to that agency only supplying the food to throughout the places, that is the different areas in our country. So in such large godowns, if you have to keep the seeds or the grains, means we have to go for a large scale storage purpose. So mainly large scale storage purpose is done with two methods, that is one, silos and granaries. Silos means there are here the pictures, there are tower like metallic bins will be there, very big, and there on the top we can fill from the top we can fill that bins with a grain. And different levels there will be outlet also. So in the beginning we can open it from the top, the outlet, and it can be collected in jute bags whenever it is required and can be packed. And when the level of that grain within that bin, it is reducing, we can open accordingly the lower levels of outlets, and in that way it will be arranged in FCIs and Food Corporation Agency and all like that. They are keeping it, and it will be airtight, and it will be it will prevent the attack of rodents and other things. The next one, it is small scale, that is it to Thrissur and all we have to store it, means from the silos they will take it and they will store it in another area, storage areas. There the bags will be filled, or the grains will be filled in jute sacks and all, and they will be arranged in a proper way, and the proper pesticides and all will be or any methods to remove the pesticides, rodents, etc., and it will be stored well in rooms, in highly enclosed rooms, and protected very well. So these are the main steps that we have to deal in this lesson. And one more branch is there, that is same way we have dealt here the crop protection only. Now same way animals also, it is not dealt much in this chapter, but even then the same way animals also can be reared at home or in farms and have to be provided with proper food, shelter and care. So the large scale breeding, then caring and feeding of the animals for commercial purpose, it is coming under the branch of biology that is called as animal husbandry. And here I have given a chart, that is, make the following table in your notebook and complete it. So which are the food products? So milk we can say, which is extracted from cow, buffalo, she goat, she camel, etc. Then egg, if you are giving, means you can write hen, then duck, then turkey, then quail. Quail means kadamutta, we'll say Quail, quail, etc. Then meat, again cow, then fowl, then duck, then turkey, etc. you can give. Then meat we have said. Then for labor, okay, so a very good number of animals are reared for working in the field, that is buffalo, bull, etc. we can be used. So different purpose. Then honeybee, that is for honey and all, we can cultivate honeybee. Then silkworm, for silk we can use silkworm. So there are different branches. Then fish, for meat, etc. we are cultivating fish. Anyway, whatever it is, there are a very good number of animals, fisheries, then dairy farm, fishery farm, dairy farm, then poultry farm. All these are the different branches of animal husbandry. So with that we are concluding this one. Then pattern of questions also we are discussing. These are the main pattern, that is one word question, answer, direct one word questions. That is, what is the name of, I have given only very few questions here, that is just to give you familiarity with the type of questions. What is the name of undesirable plants that grow among the crops? You can say wild dot. Then name the methods applied for weeding. It is manual method is there, you have to say by plucking it. Okay, chemical method means by weedicides 2,4-D. Then biological method means we can introduce that. It is not given in the textbook. We can introduce certain biologically friendly organisms to destroy the weeds. That is, there are some plants, some weed plants will be affected by certain pest and all. So that pest we can add to the soil, to the area, then that pest will attack the weeds alone, not the other one, main plant. Then we'll move on to the next one. Name the chemicals that are used to remove the weeds, that is weedicides, 2,4-D example. Name a tool which is used for removing the weeds and for loosening, hoe or plow. Any one you can write. What are the advantages of manure? That is 2-mark question. Like the 2-mark questions also they can ask. So any one, what are the advantages of irrigation? What are the advantages of plowing? Like the different ways it can, or what are the advantages of storage? In that way the questions can be asked. Here one model question I have given. The following are the some of the advantages of manure. It enhances water holding capacity, it improves the soil quality, promotes the growth of soil friendly microbes, it is renewable, biodegradable and eco-friendly. So whenever you are asked to write it in points. First point, second point, third point, fourth point, fifth point, like that way. 2-mark means minimum 4 points must be there in sentence. Okay, not that point alone, in sentence you have to write it. This is the pattern of answering the questions. That's why I have included the answers alone. Another model question, what is plowing or tilling? State its advantages. The process of loosening and turning of the soil is called as tilling or plowing. This is done by using plow, and then plow are made of wood or iron. The following are the advantages of plowing or tilling. 3-mark questions they can ask like this way. Then plowing loosens the soil and makes it aerated. It helps in mixing organic matter with soil uniformly. It initiates the growth of natural agents and microorganisms and thus keeps the soil fertile. It increases the water holding capacity of soil. It helps in easy penetration of root into the soil. So minimum 2 or 3 points you must write it. Then the next one, it is multiple choice questions. A set of options will be given, the most correct answer. You have to select it. So the first one, the branch of science that deals with growing plants and raising livestock for the human use is called as agriculture, horticulture, pisciculture, animal husbandry. So select the best answer. Then products obtained from the crops are called as. And when you are writing the best answer, you have to write the option with the answer. Okay, option with the answer. So yield, produce, crop, fertilizers. In that way you have to write it. And again, these are the model questions for the exam. Now we'll move on to the fill-ups. So like this, fill-ups will be given and you have to write not that blank area alone, the whole sentence you must write it. So here the plants is one kind grown at one place on a large scale is called as dash. So you have to write that one and then you have to complete that blank, that is crop, because fill in the blanks. In the blank you have to fill it up. So that means the whole sentence you have to write it. Then dash is the symbol tool used for removing the weeds and for loosening this one, that is hoe you can write. Then propagation of ginger is usually done using propagation by vegetative propagation, that is not in the textbook, but even then plucking the ginger and keeping it under the soil. Then dash improves the texture of the soil. Manure, condition necessary for growing maize is irrigation, you can write any 1 point, you can write it. Then irrigation or planting the preparation of the soil, any 1 step you can write it. A common weed that grow and among the crop is wild oat you can write. Dash is the process of cutting and gathering the ripened crop, that is which one, harvesting. Like that way the model questions can be asked. And another model is match the following. So left side one set will be given, right side another set will be given. So you have to match it. So here when you are asked like this way, you have to draw the column, and if it is one side sickle means you have to find out where it is harvesting. G you have to write it first, and harvesting, that word also you have to write. Don't crisscross it, okay, with the scale and pencil, don't crisscross it. So left side one sickle it is given means on the right side with the option, that is here it is G, that is harvesting you have to do. And metachlor it is we decide only. It is not given, we decide, yes, I. Then P means it is what type of plant it is, not rabi plant, rabi crop it is. So like that way you have to match it. With that we come into, with that it is over. So with confidence you have to write, revise it properly. This is only for getting an idea, but you have to read your textbook and thoroughly you have to explain it. Okay, thank you very much.